Hi, my name is Thomas Cook, and welcome to today's Real Estate Minute. Today's topic is why you should not, under any circumstances, use the listing agent when you're purchasing a home. Now, when you go out to look at homes, you have the choice of using a buyer agent who is working on your behalf under contract, or you could use the listing agent. That's the person who perhaps has their name on that sign and you've called them to get some information. But there's some very critical problems with using the listing agent. First of all, the listing agent is by law working for the seller. Okay? And when all of us joined the Ontario Real Estate Association, we agreed to abide by the ethics rules of that institution. One of the ethics rules deals with this, and I'll read you something. It says that the listing agent can only prepare a comparative market analysis for that buyer customer upon request. Now, a buyer agent, if you had one under contract, is bound and obligated to work on your behalf and to prepare that very important market analysis so you will know exactly what the property is really worth. The listing agent is not bound or obligated to do that. Number two is, the ethics rules state that if you, the listing agent, do prepare that CMA, you're not allowed to assist the buyer with the price negotiations. And why not? Well, to do so might give the buyers a negotiating edge and violate the listing agent's duty to put the interests of the seller first. And it finally concludes by saying, remember, if you're the listing agent or sub-agent to the seller, both working for the seller, your principal fiduciary duty is to the seller, even if you're working with the buyers as customers. So it's very clear that the rules show that the listing agent's first loyalty is to the seller, not the buyer. Some time ago, we had a client call us up, and she said, you know what, I bought this small co-ownership apartment in the springtime. I've become engaged, and I've never moved into it. I'd like to sell it. So this was 6 months before she actually purchased. So what I did was I went into the computer, pulled off all the comparable sales for that particular unit, and found out that in the spring and the fall, the market really hadn't changed. The value was $51,000. Now, this was a tiny little one-bedroom co-ownership apartment. However, I'd noticed that that buyer had paid $61,000, so 20% more than what she really needed to. So I called her up and I said, well, what happened here? She said, well, I called on an ad and I used the listing agent. I said, well, did you also realize that the listing agent was the owner of the property? So not only was he the listing agent representing the seller, he was the seller. So obviously he's not going to give adequate representation. And it's the same thing when he's not related or isn't the seller. The listing agent's first loyalty is to represent the seller, not the buyer. So you've got the opportunity to have a buyer agent represent you. The cost is zero because the seller pays the commission in its entirety. So why would you not want to have someone working on your behalf? If you'd like to learn more about buyer agency, go onto our website at torontorealestate.ca. That's www.torontorealestate.ca. And you'll see some articles about buyer agency there that can give you perhaps some more clarity around the subject. So thanks very much for tuning in to today's Real Estate Minute. Again, my name is Thomas Cook of the Thomas and Sally Cook team at RE/MAX Hallmark, and we'd love to be able to help you in the future with your buying and selling needs. So at the end of this video, our phone numbers and contact emails are going to be listed there, so we'd love to be able to hear from you in the future and help you. Thank you very much, and have a great day.